What is going on, everyone? My name is Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology Retold action, but not the type of action we're really used to seeing here. I'm actually going to be taking a quick look at Suppe's Freyr. I haven't done this in a while, and this is something that was sort of requested by a good friend of mine, Hagrit, which is a little bit more replay analysis rather than the straight casting stuff that I do. So let's just take a look at it. So basically, this is Suppe's Freyr. You can see that he's already going to be grabbing himself pickaxe right off the bat. He chops down the tree here to get himself an extra 10 wood. You don't have to use this right next to the wood line here. You can go ahead and chop down this tree and then move back and then move forward and then drop the ox cart. Like, it doesn't really matter. This obviously is just going to be the tiniest little bit of efficiencies. And then Suppe, he's going to be grabbing himself this super early hand axe as well. Now, I've seen this done in multiple different ways. You can grab this sort of after your third dwarf, and that's going to be able to get you a faster advance time. I'm not exactly sure if this faster hand axe here is actually going to be slowing down the classical age or not. But one thing I know about Suppe is he doesn't really care about getting that clean 4-minute 15 advance. If he goes 4:30 or even 4:45, especially against a god like Isis, he's not going to have too many issues with that. So, yeah. Following this, obviously, we go up to 7 Deuterinos. And, okay, so before we get too much into this, I want to explain exactly what I'm going to try and be looking for in this analysis. Effectively, we're looking for decision-making and also looking for points at which we could make if we knew some information in the game that maybe Suppe didn't know by using this, right? Using the mini-map, right? If we can use that the like points of information here that maybe Suppe doesn't know to make a different decision that maybe would have been a little bit better, we can take that for ourselves and go, okay, if we can figure this out and get that information in when we're playing, we can make that decision and be in a better spot potentially than Suppe could be in. Nonetheless, Temple is coming down. He is going to be getting this Gatherer and the Dwarf out. So it's looking like he might be able to get himself a nice quick advance time here. He's actually killed himself a cow, which is a bit of an interesting one here in the main base. A little bit far off this advance time with the food situation here. So it's looking like it's going to be that little bit later of an advance time. He can get another Dwarf out as well. He could actually pre-queue advancing here and maybe not be super far behind, but looks like he's going to be getting himself a Hearser out to try and grab some relics. Let's just see which relics are out that he's going to be wanting. Copish of Horus is obviously very, very useful, and Chariot of Sibel is also very useful. So both of those are amazing relics there. We've also got the Dwarven Horseshoes on this side, which is equally amazing. So it's making a lot of sense that he's going to be going for this. And we do see that pre-queue is in just as the final dwarf comes in. So no real delay in the advance time, but it is going to be a 4:30 here as Suppe, he is going to be going up to grab this relic. So in terms of what he does while advancing, you can see he's got 6 villagers on wood. He's got 6 villagers on food, and he's got 5 villagers or dwarves on gold at the moment. As he's also getting that scouting information in just to see where everything is. Some berries over here, some hunt over here, gold mines over here, gold mine over here as well. Okay, so Hearser's coming through, no real surprises. Is this relic's going to get grabbed? I would say that this one, I'm about to sneeze. I would say that this relic here is probably the most important, but this relic over here is maybe equally as important. Dwarven Horseshoes, mostly because you don't want your opponent to grab this. And it looks like Spoef not going for that is going to be fine here for Suppe. But he's actually not walking over there, it seems like. Nonetheless, we just see Sphinx coming in. The immediate Asgardian hill fort coming down on this position is a decision that I think is made. If we pause right now, I think this is a decision that's made simply because he sees that Spoef has gone through Bast. and quite late at that. Hang on, let's have a quick look here. Quite late to the advance time. Also, there's a score drop here, which I think Soup would have noticed. So there's not really any problems with going for this. The opponent doesn't have serpents, doesn't have any ability to push in and take this down. Maybe if they go for a hard classical fight here instead, getting some axemen out can cause some problems. Whole bunch of priests wandering forward here could have been some problems, but Spoiled here does go for that town center. And I think this is a score drop decision here from Soup. Like, if you know your opponent is going for a town center right away, that means they can't deny this Asgardian hill fort, and getting this up nice and early is going to be really, really good for you. But that being said, it might be a little bit dangerous to do this. So you have to really know what's going on, I guess. Anyways. Okay, following this, let's see if there's any other upgrades coming through. He is going to be getting himself this husbandry, goes for a longhouse, and it's going to just be a very fast second town center in this situation here. Gold mine wise, I would be a little bit worried about this gold mine up here. And considering we are against ISIS, it might be a good idea to just take the dwarves off of this home gold mine at this point and move them forward here. Like once the Asgardian hill fort completes, get over there and start mining this gold mine nice and early. Just on the fact that the gold in your main base, 1,500 gold there remaining, if you get pushed off this, at least you can move back and then rebuild an army out of that main base there. Alternatively, you could just move forward over here and potentially set up some sort of line of sight situation here or something like that, and you could be on this gold mine for the moment, and then when you get pushed off, you move over onto this one, and then you can move back into your home base as well. But this is just like mostly against ISIS sort of ideas, because they don't have that much pushing power, and I mean, arguably with Golden Lions, you can use these as scouts in the early stages of the game here, just to be seeing exactly what's going on the map and what your opponent's going for. Now, we know from the replay here that our opponent's going for a 2-town center fast heroic age. Soup hasn't scouted the town center, but as I said, with the score drop, you kind of know what's happening. So the question is, if you read this as the Freyr player, what is your best course of action here? Is it to drop another town center? Is it to go to the next age? And we are seeing another town center coming down here. So very, very boomy, very boomy Soup at the moment, as a couple of axemen are going to come in here, but this is not going to be enough to do anything, as Thorin axemen are out, as well as that Draugr. Now, had Spoeft potentially here gone for 2 towns in a classical fight, then Soup would be in some trouble going for this town center. So that needs to be some information, I guess, that we need to know before grabbing this town center. Now, with the Golden Lions, you can probably see it, but yeah, he's not going to know, and I guess it's a little bit of a risk, but it seems fine here. Like, you could imagine just 800 food, 500 gold worth of unit targeting down this position. It would be, I guess Soup would just delete the town center and retreat back to his hill fort, is my guess. Okay, some great halls coming up in the center of the map. Okay, I love this idea, because this idea here isn't really just to control this space, but to more delay your opponent from pushing through you. So if you have this space, well, one it's to punish a two town center fast mythic here, because you're going to be able to attack gold mines really, really fast over here and over here. And I guess at this point as well, I just want to take a little look here and see what could have happened. So there's not been any sneaky gold mine grabs, which maybe Spoilov could have gone for. He's now moving forward to it. But there hasn't been any sneaky gold mine grabs, so there hasn't been really anything that Soup can attack. But I do think knowing, like having vision of these gold mines is really, really important. As you get to the upper echelons, you're going to see a lot of players going for these sneaky gold mines earlier than the average player. So this is why you want to have units out, so that you can force your opponent to not be on those gold mines, and your timings can actually hit a little bit harder or a little bit more effectively. Not only that, potentially a wall over here would not go astray. Just send a berserk over here or a hearse over here to snipe down that obelisk and then get a wall down. and you're going to be actually forcing this gold mine or this gold mine. And I guess at this point as well, there was some opportunity to be over here and deny this position, maybe force a defensive gold mine. Oh, not a gold mine, a defensive Ancestors Eclipse. Okay. So Scorpion Man over here, we are going through A gear, watchtowers, upgrades all coming through. Whole bunch of buildings are in. Resource-wise, very, very nice here. This gold mine about to be expired here is somewhat of a problem. Villagers over here need to get pulled back because his wall's getting broken down. Smart plays here. And at this point, really, what I'm interested in is army comp. Suppe here not completely ignoring cavalry, but basically ignoring cavalry for the time being. Just going for Herdman, Throw an Axeman, Herser, Huskal. And Suppe here does see some axemen, does know there's some axemen, so he does have to be a little bit careful going completely into this infantry comp. But if your opponent is only like semi-axeman, maybe if it was like, I don't know, axeman chariot archer or something, this would be starting to be a little bit scary for this composition that Suppe's going for. And we are actually seeing that's about to happen, as well as Spoilt rushing up to this Osiris. And all of this sort of teching, I guess, that Spoilt is getting here is simply a result of the defensive play here that Suppe's done. He hasn't really put any pressure on, and basically the Egyptian player is always going to be doing this if you don't put any pressure on. So he's playing a little bit into this as at 11 minutes attempting to make your first push. It's pretty slow. Obviously, this is 3 town centers grabbed. So he is just saying, whatever you're going to throw at me, throw it at me, and I'll try and defend it, is the idea here. If we take a little look at what Suppe knows, he hasn't scouted this. He hasn't scouted this. If we take a look at the differential in the army at the moment, it's pretty close. So there's a lot of upgrades, I guess, which Suppe's got. So his military is quite strong here. But definitely pushing over here and cleaning up the obelisk and maybe attacking this and something could have been an option. Though I think with this god, Freyr, a lot of the time just simply playing defensive is your best bet. So this is just take whatever your opponent's going to throw at you sort of angle here. He's also getting this Feast of Renown tech straight away, which makes a lot of sense. A couple more upgrades, heavy infantry. But the problem is, how do you deal with the Son of Osiris and everything else that's coming in with this army? This is what I'm interested in, is how Suppe is going to approach fighting a little bit later. Now, another thing here that we're watching from Suppe that I think maybe at this point is starting to get a little bit late for your buildings is he probably should have a unit just building buildings back here. Just like one building at a time right now. Or maybe like 1 or 2 minutes ago. One building at a time would make a lot of sense. He does click up through the Dar here. He's quite a ways away from that in terms of food and housed. And this is going to be a nice timing here for Spoilt to hit. But Spoilt does need to get some considerable damage done. The differential in villages is rather high at the moment. Thank you for the raid as well, Nulra. Hope your stream went well. Okay, so there's also the Pharaoh empowerment getting a little bit of HP back, but you know, Suppe here at this point pushing in a little bit challenging. Son of Osiris is now in. It's a little bit late to make this push happen, so he's just gonna have to pull back and wait for the time being. Walls coming up. I wouldn't mind seeing the actual base walled up here. One huge weakness for Suppe's army, as we are seeing some hill forts and great halls coming down. One huge weakness is that these heavy herdmen, which are very, very good, chasing away a 7.2 speed camel rider running through your base is very, very challenging. But if you put a wall up here and a wall up over through the middle here as well, now suddenly the camel riders, they have to come around this way and they have to run straight through your army, and you're going to lose a lot of them. So that's a way to go. But at this point, I think maybe Spoilt just making a bit of a mistake and kind of playing into the composition which Suppe is making here, which is basically pure, not pure herdmen, but pure infantry. And he probably should just be going for chariot archer axemen with a transition ready into Camel Riders once raiding cavalry really starts to pop out. But the question is, how good is this Son of Osiris with the mummies going to be when you've got Aegir and you've got Gullimbursty? So basically, Suppe's just sitting back waiting until this town center gets attacked and he can click Gullimbursty and Aegir in an attempt to take out the potential mummies on the back or anything like this. So, yeah, this is the big weakness, I guess. So, but before we continue, is there any other sort of damage here that Suppe could kind of get? Over on this spot, we see Spelf just defending over here. The walls are up over here. Maybe some buildings around on this spot wouldn't go astray. Just to deny this gold mine. He's got a lot of wood in the bank. Maybe some more farms wouldn't go astray instead. But now he's got the Gullimbursty. Now he's got the army coming around the back. This is a really good engagement here. There's the Aegir. And Gullimbursty straight onto this position to take out the Son of Osiris. And as this is Eclipse, he's going to come through. And that's an insane way to deal with all of that there. There's also Vidar now available to just come through and just absolutely erase this position. This is a really, really good attack here from Suppe and a big mistake from Spoeft. It'll be interesting to go back and watch that fight again, or watch, maybe ask yourself how Spoeft could have engaged a little bit easier on this spot. But yeah, that's a complete domination of this mummy army, and all of a sudden, Suppe is just insanely far in front, and he's now got all the time in the world to get these upgrades through. Plus, he can just go and attack here and prevent this town center from coming up. The game is not over just yet. Suppe here, still, I would say, just getting built. Like, if he was continuing to get these buildings down, he'd probably have himself 10-ish longhouses up, maybe 5 to 10 great halls up as well. That would be much lower. Like, if you just have 20 more buildings down now, he would never have any production problems. But in a way, it doesn't matter. He's at full population here. And big Vidar. There's the army here, just going to retreat away. But this does clean up these buildings here to some degree. Like half HPing the Migdol Stronghold. Probably could have aimed onto the Migdol Stronghold rather than anything else, and that would have actually killed it. I think that's how it works. Hold on, let me have a quick look. That's 2,000 damage. I don't know. I think it does some damage to it while the wolf is running through there as well. But yeah, the army here, because it's pure infantry, you basically need pure axemen with chariot archers to take out any sort of goatee on the back to deal with this. There's only a handful of raiding cavalry, which is just not going to really cut it. So in a way here, I would be interested to see this this composition here from Spoef to be more of an axeman based thing against what Suppe is doing. So if you see this sort of a comp here, I mean, I want to kind of work out how to defeat that then in the next case. But yeah, if your opponent is interesting here is the idea from Suppe. How do you beat that Son of Osiris? Well, eventually the Egyptian player is going to have to push in, because if you don't, this Freyr player is going to get as big as possible. So in a way here, the defensive nature of Suppe's gameplay makes the ISIS player want to go for the fast mythic, but maybe arguably that's a mistake here. Maybe arguably a fast mythic here from the ISIS player is like a really, really big mistake, and you want to either go for heroic age timing, denying this town center with maybe a whole bunch of axemen and a couple of chariot archers to boost that up, or even you want to just stay in the classical age and go for like a 2 town center push to deny this Asgardian hill fort and get on the front foot and force out some defensive god powers to kind of keep the Freyr alive. So it'd be interesting to see exactly how this matchup would change if the ISIS player is a little bit more aggressive. And I know the map is Alfheim, and it's kind of a defensive Alfheim. Walls and stuff can make life very challenging, but you do go through Bast and potentially getting out Sphinx to break down those walls a little bit quicker could be another option. Now, thinking about it, if this is an Axeman Chariot comp, then I guess the game plan is still going to be similar, but instead of just continuing to build all these infantry units, you would just pull back and just drop down 5 great halls, 6 great halls, and then you just go into pure cavalry to break through this army, is my guess. Not 100% sure, but yeah. Okay, so interesting game here. Nice play from Suppe. Good walls, good control, very defensive. Maybe if you do go, one other option here and one weakness here, I guess, from the Suppe position is if these camel riders, instead of just taking this fight on this position, just started breaking off and just running, using that speed straight through the main base, attacking this, attacking this, attacking this, attacking this, attacking this, and then all of a sudden Suppe is on having to deal with that, and then you can set up maybe some catapults to siege down this town center, rather than trying to just break it down without siege and having that Gullimbursty take you out. And then the Son of Osiris can be sitting back here, away from the Gullimbursty, just diving straight onto it, as an idea. All right. Let me know if you guys enjoyed this sort of analysis shenanigans. I got another one coming for you, so let's jump in and check that one out.